What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today I'm going to be going over my thoughts on the Mamiya 645 Super. Let's get into it. That's good. So today I have the Mamiya 645 here, not just the 645, but the 645 Super. Not sure if you guys are familiar with Mamiya 645 setup, but there are a few of them. There's a M645, which is the original, if I'm not mistaken. There's a 1000S, there's the Pro TL, there's the Pro, there's the Mamiya 645 Super. That's the one I have here today. Basically, the only difference is the original M645 and the 1000S. They don't have the modular interchangeable bodies as the 645 Super, the Pro, and the Pro TL all have. So they all have the interchangeable bodies. You can take off the prism finder, you can take off the back. They have film backs for it, just like the regular Mamiya RB system and RZ system, how it's modular. It's the same thing with those three models of the 645. Now, I don't know why 645 format gets such flack in the medium format community. It is probably, I've noticed it's like the black sheep, I guess you would call it, you know what I mean? The ugly duckling of the medium format 120 film. A lot of people don't really shoot 645, and if they do, they love it. And if they don't, they hate it. It's like there's definitely a line drawn in the sand when it comes to shooting 645. And it could be I've heard a lot of people compare it to just a larger 35 millimeter, which is pretty much exactly what it is. It's just a larger negative of a 35 millimeter, but it's still 120. So I don't know. Now, me personally, I've grown to love the 645 system, and I think it's mainly because it's ergonomical and it's fairly easy to take around with you. I mean, you guys have seen my video on the RZ67 and it's massive, but this thing is probably, I don't know, a fraction of the size. I mean, I'd probably say at least a half, maybe a third. I might be pushing it, but I'd say it's pretty good difference in size. You also just get more shots out of your negatives. Out of the 6.7 systems, you're only getting 10 shots. Out of this one, you're getting 15. So, I mean, even now you're getting more bang for your buck when it comes into doing a shoot for money, or if you're just out having fun, you get more shots to play around with. I kind of prefer it. Like I said, I like carrying this camera around a lot easier. It's easier to throw in a backpack. The build quality is really good. I can't really attest to the earlier 645 systems, but as far as having the Super, which I got pretty much mint condition, it's kind of rad. But yeah, I mean, I can't really complain about it. I've shot a few rolls through it. I've taken it out with me. The speeds are good. The shutter speeds are fast. The prism finder is nice. Overall, I like it. Now, this specific model, the 645 Mamiya, they do have this 80 millimeter 1.9. Now, from my knowledge, I could be wrong, double check me guys, but the 1.9 80 millimeter is the fastest medium format lens that they have ever created. I don't think there's another lens that stops down to 1.9 aside from this one, or lower than that. I think 2.8 is the lowest I've seen, but this 1.9 for portraits is fantastic. But don't get me wrong, you can easily, miss shots with that depth of field. But aside from that, it's fantastic. I do really like the modularity of this camera. It does have, your dark slide like any other camera with the film back on it. The prism finder is really cool. If I had to give a drawback and say something that I don't like, it would probably be the waist level finder for this camera. Now, I really like waist level finders, but for a 645 camera, I feel like unless you have fantastic eyes, which mine are whatever, I'd say average, but the waist level finder for the 645s just do not work for me. I feel like I'm just like looking into the finder and it's like, it's really hard to see, it's hard to focus. And unless you're shooting, f4 or above, then I don't know. I tend to miss focus a lot, but that could just be me. My personal preference. I couldn't really tell you how somebody else's is, but for me, I tend to miss focus a lot. But aside from that, I mean, I still like the waist level finder because it's just fun. I mean, the prism finder is cool. But the waist level finder is fun. I just don't like it on this camera specifically. I love it on, Rolleiflex or the RZ system. But other than that, it's pretty good. I do like that this camera has 1,000th of a shutter speed as the max shutter speed, which the 6-7 cameras do not. The RB systems, they max out at 400ths of a second. This one goes up to 1,000. That is very, very beneficial. I think even the Rolleiflexes, the 3.5s max out at 500th of a second. So 1,000 is, it does help, especially if you're shooting sunny days and stuff like that, and you want to shoot a faster speed film. It does tend to help out having more of a shutter speed, obviously. So that is the one thing that I really like about this camera. I like that it has the modular wind system. It did have a automatic winder on it that I know a lot of people use, like a grip winder. I'm not a big fan of the grip winder systems. I prefer actually manually winding my film, but that's just me. I think it gives more of a feel to the camera in itself. Like I said, that's just another personal preference, I guess. So one thing I kind of don't like about the camera is the backs do not rotate like they do on the RB and RZ systems. So you have a standard back, obviously, because it's smaller. So you have to physically rotate the camera when you want to shoot, you know, portrait landscape style photos. So you have to actually rotate the camera, which is fine because it is a smaller camera, but it's a bit inconvenient, to be completely honest. Especially with the prism finder, you find yourself kind of holding it at a weird kind of funky angle. And that's just me finding something to nitpick about. I really like the system, but like I said, if I had to pick two things that I didn't like about it, it would be the non-rotating backs and how small the waist level finder is. But I mean, honestly, aside from that, I couldn't really complain. It does have a hot shoe mount for it. It does have multiple exposure modes that I'm not sure the regular M645 does have. It might not, don't quote me, or the 1000S. But other than that, it's like, I don't know, I really like it. It has a dial for your ISO for your film. It does have the prism finder that you can have exposure compensation on it or just whatever. Now this version itself is not automatic. I am not a fan. This is gonna sound very hypocritical because I love the T2 and G2 for 35mm. But for medium format, I'm not a big fan of automatic cameras. I prefer to manually focus because when I do shoot 120, I feel like I'm moving a lot slower, and that's on purpose. So automatic makes me feel, or it gives me that inclination to move a little bit faster when I'm shooting, and that's something that I'm not a big fan of personally. But like I said, that's just me. To each its own. So here are a couple photos that I have taken with the 645 since I've had it. Hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys, you know what I mean, for the continued support. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. If you have subscribed, then I greatly appreciate it. You have held it down for me and done everything I needed you to do. Could you comment, share, like, all the stuff that you can do to help me grow my channel, help me support it. And if there's any videos you want to see, leave me a comment, shoot me a message, let me know. But other than that, I greatly appreciate you guys. And until next time, let's be easy, guys.